Hey, yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Markman Comics. My name is Rob Markman. Today, we're going to be talking about the X-Men. We're going to be talking about From the Ashes. We're going to be talking about the post-Krakoa era, relaunched in July. And I just want to catch up to where we are now. For me, as a fan, and as a fan of the X-Men, is my favorite Marvel book. I was really looking forward to this event, this relaunch. I have fell out and wasn't quite following towards the end of the Krakoa era. So I was like, this is a fresh start. This is a good start. This is a good point for me to jump on and really dive back in. I was a big fan of Powers of X and House of X, when Krakoa was all just starting. I thought that was phenomenal. And what started happening to me was when the book started spinning off, the X-Men books, the Uncanny X-Men books, X-Force, Excalibur, there was a New Mutants book. I started realizing, I wasn't interested in all of these. And do I have to be reading all these books to follow the storyline? And, I'm a big fan of continuity. I come from, if it's not apparent, come from the 90s, right? Like the 80s and 90s is my heyday. So I remember when the X books really started to spin off. Obviously we had Uncanny X-Men, and then New Mutants, of course, spun off. And that existed all throughout the 80s. And XFactor, was a big book. But then when you get to the Jim Lee era, when you get an X-Men and you get an Uncanny X-Men, and Rob Liefeld turns New Mutants into X-Force, and, XFactor takes on a new team and a new form. And I was really into all those books, and all of those books seemed like they had a purpose. There was a solo Wolverine series. There was Excalibur, even, which I was into at the time. There was a lot, but it wasn't like overwhelming, right? And it all felt like one universe. So here we are now, From the Ashes, and I'm like, all right, there's a good place to dive in. I'm looking forward to the continuity. I want to follow all of this, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I could keep up. And, this video, I want to, at least through my eyes, right? And this is just my opinion. What do you have to follow? You can follow all of them. You don't have to follow any of them, but what feels like necessary reading, or to me, what feels the most important out of all these new X-Men post-Krakoa books? You understand what I'm saying? And we're going to go through each title one by one. So, we started out in July is when X-Men 1 launched. The Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman series started out in July, so we're about 4 months in. And this whole thing has 12 ongoing series planned and 3 limited series. So that's 15 series, and not all of them have come out yet, but that's 15 mutant books in 1 year total, like different series. And just to give you an idea, right? Like, I've been buying every issue. Some, couple of doubles, some variants, but this has like been my investment in X-Men post-Krakoa. Like, this is what I've been keeping up with. This whole stack of books here might be missing some, but there's some doubles here, like I said, or there was just variant covers that I like. So I'm like, man, let me get that. But this is like the investment, the buy-in, and I'm not even talking about the money wise, right? Like, I'm talking about what I have to keep up with, what I have to get, what I have to read in order to like not maybe have that FOMO that I'm missing out on something. And, I just want to see if it's all worth it right now, right? So we're going to start, right? X-Men. I hope the glare, I keep trying to find the adjustments of these lights, so please bear with me. But I hope the glare doesn't hit, but I'm going to show this on screen. But X-Men #1, in this X-Men series, Jed McKay, Ryan Stegman, there's about 6 or 7 issues in right now, right? So this is the Cyclops-led team. Beast is on this team. Magic is on this team. Kid Omega's on this team. Psylocke. Magneto is on this team, but he's very much like, he's in the chair. He's kind of withering away. It's not the same Magneto. Almost looks like he's playing a Professor X role. He's definitely like in the background, and we're going to find more about this. Temper is on this team. And I like this story. I'm into this. Like, X genes are mysteriously activating in humans way past puberty, like at points when they don't expect, and in other crazy ways. Just a crazy thing is happening about how X genes are being activated, and it's amplifying fears within humans. And Beast is trying to figure it out. Cyclops and his team are investigating. They're trying to intervene and find these newly formed mutants before the humans do. Cyclops in this book, first of all, I love the art in this book, and Cyclops in this book just feels a little younger, feels a little more spry. But he also is still dealing with Charles Xavier not being here and the penalty of leadership. I like this book. I'm gonna stick with this one. This is the flagship X-Men title, right? Boom. All right, let's go on. Uncanny X-Men. This is the Gail Simone. Gail Simone is writing this. David Marquez is doing the art. This is also maybe about 5 or 6 issues in. Rogue is on this team. Wolverine, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, and then there's a bunch of new characters. To me, this is the best of the new books. To me, this Uncanny X-Men title is the best in the new books. This is like the outcast X-Men. They don't know if they really want to be X-Men anymore after everything they've been through. It looks like that they're leading up. They're gonna clash with Cyclops' team. They're in cohorts with Cyclops' team. They communicate with each other, but they haven't crossed over yet. But it also looks like there's going to be a clash with his team. The writing so far is really good. And I actually care about these characters, like the way they kind of build it up with Gambit, with Rogue, really with Rogue being the anchor and the leader of this team. Like, I'm really like invested. Like, I find myself reading once a month and really enjoying this book. So Uncanny X-Men is a keeper. Like I said, that flagship X-Men is a keeper. Next up, we have Exceptional X-Men. Eve Ewing, Carmen, Canario. Kitty Pryde leads this team. Emma Frost is a part of this. This is a slow build for me. And this is just for me, right? It may work for you. This is a slow build for me. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this book much longer. The premise, Kitty Pryde just seems like she just wants to live a normal life. She works in a coffee shop. She wants to date. But there's these new young mutants that are popping up and that found her and are looking for guidance, looking how to use their powers. And, it feels like she's going to be a leader, whether she wants to or not. And then, trying to see what role Emma Frost plays in this. It's a little more nefarious when it comes to her. This is a slower build. If for me, it feels like they spent way too much time in the coffee shop and way too much time on dates. I'll probably stick with this a couple of issues and feel it out, because X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Exceptional X-Men feel like the three that are meant to be like the main titles here. So I'll see what's up, but I ain't gonna lie. Like they spend too much time on dates and in the coffee shop. I may drop this one. You know what I'm saying? Next up, we got NYX. NYX, Miss Marvel's on this team. Laura Kinney. This is like X-Men the college years. X-Men in New York the college years. The book, it just don't speak to me. It's a little annoying to me, if I'm gonna be honest. A bunch of younger X-Men trying to find their way. It's about 4 issues in, but I'm done with this. Like, unless there's some major crossover or something that I have to read, I'm done with this. And then what Marvel's gonna do, I know what they're gonna do is they're probably gonna like sneak a character into this book and do a first appearance that 5-6 years later is gonna be like, oh, I wish I would have kept reading this series because there's some special key that happens. But I'm just not really into this book, I can't lie. Another one that I'm not into is X-Force, right? X-Force is Forge, Betsy Braddock, Rachel Summers. This X-Force book. Deadpool, they put Deadpool in the first issue. Deadpool is like sometimes on the team, supposedly, but he appeared in the first issue and then not after that. But Forge is the leader of X-Force. He created this thing called the Analog, which can help predict potential world-ending threats, right? And before they happen anywhere on the globe. So Forge uses this thing and they have a strike force team and they travel to anywhere on the globe and they stop these potential threats. My biggest issue with this is that none of the battles feel particularly important, right? Like, they're supposed to be these world-ending events, but they're squashed in a single issue and then the team moves on to the next assignment. It just doesn't feel like there's a ton of consequence within this book. I'm not into the team, like just the overall makeup of the team. I'm not really invested in the characters. Like I just don't buy this book. Like it just doesn't feel like super believable or super consequential to me. And then the love affair between the relationship between Betsy and Rachel Summers just feels like in every battle they're either like bickering back and forth or telling each other, "Yo, be careful out there. Don't overexert yourself. Be careful. Don't be in danger." And it's like, yo, these are two like super strong mutants. Like, they'll be fine. Like, I'm not into this one. XFactor is another one. 4 issues into this book, I'm gonna be honest, I'm done with this book too. I just don't enjoy the tone. Havoc is the leader of this team. It's too slapstick for me. X Factor is like X Factor always was, right? Government team, right? A team led by the government. So X Factor is hired by the government to intervene for different conflicts, and it feels like they're pawns in a lot of these missions. They don't get the full story, they don't get the full briefing, and then they go in there and have to deal with some potential threat. But they also have to appear on Click Clock, which is Marvel's version of TikTok. They have to go to conventions and autograph signings. The whole thing about this is to increase like the public, I guess, the Q rating of mutants, right? Like, it's to get the public, the human public, to buy into mutants again and enjoy mutants. So they watch these characters like if they're a reality show. It's a little bit like Jersey Shore meets TikTok. Havoc's the leader. Again, he's just being used as a pawn, and he kind of goes with it. I think the book would be a lot more interesting to me if it was more serious in its tone and it dealt more with the psychology of it all. There's some cool moments like with Granny Smite, who's this character, old lady mutant whose power is she can't die, and she just wants to die. She's like so old, she just wants to die, but she can't. But overall, there just isn't enough weight in this book for me to stick it out. So I'm done with X Factor. Phoenix #1. This is dope. This Phoenix book, I enjoyed this solo Jean Grey book. She's in outer space. She's teaming up with Corsair. She's fighting the Black Order. She's teaming up with Carol Danvers. I feel like there's a potential Thanos face-off that's building. I just like the way that this book is building up issue to issues, and the stories feel like they have some weight. So I'm sticking with this. And I don't know how this all ties in, right? But this has just been like a solid book. You know what I mean? Like I'm feeling this. So I'm going to stick with Phoenix for a while. Wolverine, that is a bunch of Wolverine series. Like Wolverine's Revenge is happening right now. That's not going on in this continuity. This Wolverine book, From the Ashes, is part of the From the Ashes, written by Saladin Ahmed, drawn by Martin Coccolo. Issue 1 of this Wolverine book was fire. Wolverine fights Cyber is fire. Solid book. It's really dope. Wolverine story. Issue 2 had Wendigo, also dope, but issue 1 like really blew me away and set it up. I just love the way the book is written. Puts Wolverine back in the woods of Canada, really getting back to who the core of the character is. I was impressed by this. I'm sticking with this. Next up, we have Storm, right? So what's going on with Storm is interesting because one, and this is not an X-Men book, but Storm is part of the Avengers now, as part of this storyline. So I think that's dope. And it also looks like there's about to be an X-Men versus Avengers. I don't think it's going to be a big event, but there's an upcoming issue where there's going to be a clash between the Avengers and X-Men. I don't think it's going to be like an A versus X event. But this Storm solo book, this Storm #1 was fire too. I like what they're doing with Storm here. I like her on the Avengers. I like that they take a political angle in this book. Storm is taking a political position in government. It's just really intriguing in that way. I thought issue 1 was one of the best single issues of a book that I've read in the last couple of months. So definitely sticking with Storm. Next up, we have the Sentinels. I didn't know what to expect from the Sentinels. And it's a miniseries. It's 5 issues, I think. But issue 1 was solid. New team, new characters. Feels very like militaristic. This book has the tone that I was looking for in X Factor. You know what I'm saying? Just a little more militant. There's some consequence. There's characters that are have dark pasts, are getting shot at. Like it just feels. This book actually feels like how I wanted X Factor to feel, and I like the art in this book. I'm looking forward to see where this is going. This is a miniseries. Will I stay for the whole 5 issues? I don't know, but they definitely got me for issue 2. What else? Dazzler. All right. So yeah. Okay, Dazzler is the next one. I feel like Marvel really kind of played us and it capitalized off of the Taylor Swift as Dazzler in the Deadpool and Wolverine rumors that were going around. I mean, because there was these rumors going around. Obviously, Taylor Swift was not in the movie. Taylor Swift playing Dazzler or something like that would have been a big resurgence for the character, right? But that wasn't happening. It just wasn't a thing. wasn't going to happen, but Marvel still reprinted Dazzler's first appearance and did it in the holofoil with Uncanny XMen 130. They announced this book towards the beginning of the year, and even in the promo, they was like, Dazzler goes on her world tour, and there's a songbook, there's like lyrics integrated and song sheets integrated into these issues and integrated into the writing. I wouldn't be surprised, and there might be, I haven't looked into it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did a Dazzler album and got somebody to just sing the songs that they're writing for the book or something like that, right? But it did feel very Taylor Swiftish. I mean, it's Dazzler. Dazzler is Dazzler, and always kind of felt like big pop star, whatever. But it just felt to me that Marvel was trying to capitalize off of those rumors, off of those Taylor Swift rumors, and gave us a Dazzler miniseries. I bought issue 1. I read issue 1. The book wasn't for me. It's just not for me. Like I'm dumping this one too. It's not bad either. But I'm just like, when just something isn't for you. Like, this isn't for me. I actually recommended it to a friend of mine. I'm like, yo, your daughter might like this. And even the daughter didn't want it. She was like, yeah. I showed this to my daughter, but she didn't want it. So it's interesting on who's actually buying this book and who this book is for, but it's not for me. There's another, I believe this is a limited series, Mystique. I'm not the biggest Mystique fan, but Mystique #1, I picked this up, I read it. I don't love the art in this book, but it's actually, issue 1 was solid. It was a good espionage. Mystique is again being mysterious, not being straightforward. There's something that she's looking for. She faces off with Maverick in this first issue. Nick Fury Jr. is chasing her down, so it looks like it's gonna be a hunt to figure out what Mystique is up to. First issue was cool, but I'm probably done here too. I'm not. It was nothing wrong with it, but it's just not for me either. Then there's a Psylocke book coming up. There's a Laura Kinney Wolverine book coming up. There's a Magic book coming up. I'll probably check out issue 1 of all of those and then see where I go from there. I really like Psylocke. I'm a big Psylocke fan, so I'll probably stay with Psylocke. We'll see about Laura Kinney Wolverine. We'll see about Magic. But my overall takeaway is there's a lot. There's just too much. There's no way to keep up. I mean, there's no reason why we should have 15 X books, and be expected to keep up with it all. So, I'm making choices. Out of the 15, I'm doing X-Men. I'm doing Uncanny. That's 2. I might do Exceptional. That's 3. NYX, I'm dumping. XForce, I'm dumping. XFactor, I'm dumping. Phoenix, I'm keeping. That's 4. Wolverine, I'm keeping. That's 5. Storm, I'm keeping. That's 6. Sentinels, I'm keeping. That's 7. And then I'm probably going to dump off the rest. So that's about half of the books. And even that feels like a lot. Like 7 X books feels like a lot. I'm starting to get that feeling again when I jumped off the Krakoa ship. It was just like, yo, it was too much going on. Like how do I keep up with all of this? And it can't all possibly be good, right? It's just the law of averages. Like you're doing 15 series in the X world, and they can't all possibly be necessary or good. But we'll see, man. I would love to know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what y'all reading out of the From the Ashes. Like, what were your expectations? Is it meeting your expectations? Is it not meeting your expectations? What books are you sticking with? What are your favorites out of this bunch? Or do you get them all? You know what I mean? Just let me know in the comments. Talk to me. I talk back. This is just my opinion, of course. I try to be respectful because they are creators. They are people's jobs. There are people who just put their all into these issues. So, I don't really kind of condemn these books in this way, more so just saying, yo, this just isn't for me. I'm going to have to make decisions because 4 months in and, it's looking crazy already. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all think. Hit me in the comments, man. Talk to me. I'll talk back. All right. Till the next time. Peace.